guessing we're live.
I'm going to think we're live. We can't see it because our monitor is down, but that is the beauty of live television. Welcome, everybody, to a live episode of Dodgers Territory. We are live from Camelback Ranch. On the other side, we are over at White Sox camp, of course, foul territory with A.J. Pierzynski, Eric Kratz, and Scott Braun. They were doing White Sox today, and Clint Pasillas and myself are over here now talking all things Dodgers. And Clint, you and I have been here since Sunday. We've had a lot of time to kind of see what's going on in the Dodgers clubhouse and with the team and everything. Obviously, they are now in Tokyo. But kind of what is your overall assessment of kind of what you noticed during camp this week?
I mean, this is a team that's hungry. They're excited to get out of here. They were excited to get to Tokyo and get that much closer to starting that road to repeat is what we're going to call it here in 2025. But a lot of happy faces. Camp is shorter. You know how much these dudes hate being here for a month. To get them here for a couple of weeks and get out, nice travel to Tokyo. That's some fun stuff. And we get the news, solidify the news. Roki Sasaki will be starting game 2.
As we get into the big ticket here on Dodgers territory, we'll get to that. Nothing that we didn't expect, right? No. We thought Yoshinobu Yamamoto was going to be the game 1 starter, which he is. And fellow countryman Roki Sasaki is officially the guy that is toeing the rubber, Clint, for the Los Angeles Dodgers in game 2. So we got to see him live and in living color. Pretty here cool. As far as his last start of Cactus League before he pitches for real. What were you looking for?
I was looking at him. I was as close
you were
as
in the
you
camera
and I
well.
were in the camera well right there, just kind of enjoying what Roki had going there. He was working on some stuff. Hearing, we're going to throw to some tape in a second, his post-game scrum, but hearing what he was talking about and then seeing him in the dugout there, some of the stuff he was working on, his lower half, you could definitely see some of the things that they're trying to implement with Roki Sasaki ahead of that game 2 start, his major league debut. Of course, he did only get one technical start in Cactus League season, did piggyback Yoshinobu Yamamoto. But what do you think? Should we throw to Roki right now and come back?
Yeah, let's hear what Roki had to say after his last Cactus League start.
Are you feeling ready for what could be your major league debut in Tokyo?
今日がキャンプ最終戦になりましたけど、今日の感覚と、また開幕に向けて準備は、整ってますか？
そうですね。前回よりも、なんて思うようにいかなかったところもありますし、自分の悪い癖だってそういうのも出たので、逆にシーズン開幕前にそういったところが今のうちにこう悪いところが出てくれてよかったなと思っています。
There are a few more things that didn't go sort of the way I wanted today, and I sort of reverted to some bad habits that I developed. But to sort of have those come out in a game before opening day, so that I can address them in time, is a good thing.
How do you just go about that? What is the priority for you, or what is the first step in which you kind of want to address that?
その悪い癖だったりっていうのを直すために、当たって、どういうことを、やりたいと思ってますか？何を、優先に、回復したいですか？
基本的には下半身の使い方だと思うんですけど、なんていうんですかね、やってきた試合に向けて準備してきたことは前回と変わらなかったので、やることは変えずに、ただホームの意識の中で、ちょっとしたズレだったり、なんていうんですかね、そういったところを直していきたいなと思っています。
The things that I was doing to prepare for the game were the same as last time, and so I'm going to stick to that for my next start as well. But I think there were just a few things with the way I'm using my lower half, just some inconsistency between the things that I'm trying to do and what was actually happening.
Roki, how much better do you feel about the feel for your pitches today than you did the first day of camp?
その今日の感覚とキャンプ初日の感覚っていうのはどれぐらい違いがありますか？
練習とかってことですよね。
いや、試合で投げてるボールっていうのを、今日投げたボールとキャンプ初日投げたボールの違い。
キャンプ初日は練習ってことですよね。
はい。
練習で。状況が違うので、一概に比べられないんですけど、確実に良くなっていると思いますし、でもまだまだな部分もあるので、そこはもうシーズン始まりますけど、シーズン中もなんていうんですかね、改善しながらやっていきたいです。
I think it's a little bit difficult to compare like a non-game environment to a game environment, speaking about sort of the first day of camp. But, I definitely feel like I'm getting better. There are obviously things that I want to improve on as well. And so I want to make sure I improve on those things during the season as well.
How excited are you for the next stage of your career, and how fortunate do you feel that it gets to happen to start off in Japan?
このキャリアの新たな、段階になると思いますけど、それを、日本で迎えられることについて、どれくらい、興奮してますか？
そうですね、日本の前にまずメジャーで、なんですかね、投げれたら嬉しいですし、そこで活躍するためにやってきたので、すごく興奮しますし、それをまた東京で迎えられるのは、特別というか、なかなかないことだと思うので、本当に、ここまで怪我なく、やってきてこれてよかったなと思ってます。
To be able to pitch in Japan is going to be a really special and unique opportunity. Obviously, being able to pitch in the major leagues is something that I've worked for a long time to be able to do, and so I'm really excited.
And we're back, but it's cool to see Roki getting out there. I mean, whatever they were working on, seems like it worked a little bit there. 4 innings, 1 hit, no runs. He looked pretty damn smooth. And again, one of the things he was talking about is getting that lower half working. Kind of one of the things he was kind of pantomiming, doing some dry throwing drills in the dugout there. Looks like a little bit of the hip separation, a little bit of hand separation, kind of staying high and making sure he's able to get through, get that spin on the fastball and get that down on the sinker and throwing him to the Wolves in game 2.
Well, I think it's the perfect place for him to get the start too. Obviously, it's one thing to get your big league debut. It's another thing to do it in your home country. Obviously, we knew that Roki Sasaki wanted to pitch for the Dodgers, but there's got to be some sort of comfort level knowing that you're back in Japan. And obviously, Yamamoto will lead the way in game 1, and you obviously have Shohei there as well. By the way, I'm not trying to look like a 13-year-old boy. It is windy as all get out here, so I got my foul territory cap on, and we have to wear it backwards. Those are the rules. Clint always does it. AJ always does it as well. All right, back in a moment after a quick word from Eric Kratz and Scott Braun from our friends at Arena Club.
FT fam, if you love ripping packs of cards, there is a modern way to do that now on Arena Club with their slab packs. And Kratz, I know you love ripping slab packs and getting that sweet card that you've always been looking for.
All right, Arena Club, we appreciate you being a part of our show, as always, on the Foul Territory Network. We're this episode, Clint, of Dodgers Territory, you and I discussed that we're going to have this more of a pitching-focused episode, and then on Monday we're going to talk about the position players a few more days between then and now to discuss the roster construction and those that have been optioned. But I tell you what, when we went in, it was murderer's row of the bullpen in the Dodgers clubhouse. It's like you already have, of course, the staple of Blake Trinan is back. Alex Vesey is back. Anthony Banda is back, all of the things. But then you look over and it's like, oh, by the way, there's Tanner Scott and there's Kirby Yates. Yep. And Tanner Scott gave us his thoughts on joining the team. Take a listen. All right, Tanner, welcome to the team. It's one of the huge signings, obviously, in this offseason, hoping to bolster that bullpen. But this is a bullpen that was already pretty dang good. Yeah. If you look around you, and you can see the names, obviously. And I wasn't even hoping for Kirby Yates, and we got him too. So what was your initial thought of just kind of joining this group of bullpen dogs?
It's going to be a fun year. It's going to be an exciting year, and there's so many good arms down there, and there's so many good arms in our starting rotation. But, it's awesome, especially – right after I signed, I saw Kirby was signed. It was pretty cool. Maybe I'll learn a splitter or something.
We had a conversation yesterday with Evan Phillips, obviously a good friend of yours, teammate of yours back in Baltimore. How do you think your game has changed since back in the O's days to here you are in this Dodgers pen?
Yeah, I mean, in the Orioles days, it was like a revolving door, and you always want to stay in the big leagues, and you're kind of like fighting for a job, and then something finally clicked, and it's I'm glad it clicked, and I'm glad to be here.
What's the Tanner Scott go-to?
The go-to? What do you mean by that?
Well, when you're out there and let's say it's a 3-2 count, what's your out pitch? I mean, why do you?
It depends on the sequence, what the hitter's seeing. I can't say if it's fastball or slider. It's whatever the at-bat has led up to.
Okay. You had mentioned an unbelievable starting rotation. I mean, there's a group of aces on this team that many of the other 29 are jealous of, and they can go deep into games, but there's also a lot of versatility. When you talk about V, it's not victory, it's versatility with this club. What most excites you about those starting arms?
Everything. I mean, everyone is so good and so fun to watch. I mean, Yamamoto, yesterday he's special, and I mean, he throws so hard, and his his javelin throws are crazy, and I love watching him do it. But and then Blake Snell. I mean, just the whole starting rotation is unbelievable, and it's going to be a fun year to watch.
when you think about this group of guys, as you stand here and look around this clubhouse, there's a massive amount of superstars, but the ego seems to be checked at the door. How key is that? I mean, how much of that was a reason why you wanted to be here?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's a family. I mean, we want the same ending goal. We want to win a World Series, and they did it last year, and I want to be a part of it this year.
What was it like in the off season and this whole process for you?
It was fun. It was long.
Was it fun?
I mean, it's not fun, but it's a long process. And then, I mean, right when the Dodgers called and they made an offer, I mean, why not? Why wouldn't you want to put on this color and in this organization? It's a great place to be. And then I got Kirby next to me, so it's fun.
Is he a good guy? No, he's not a good guy. He's shaking his head now.
He's a good guy. I'm trying to learn his splitter.
What I love from that whole thing is you catching him in a lie there. It's not fun.
Free agency's not fun.
Free agency's not fun. But seeing this dude, obviously we don't know quite what the closer situation is going to be like. We've heard Dave Roberts say something akin to the fact that he's probably going to get the lion's share of some save opportunities. But
Tanner Scott, you mean?
Talking about Tanner Scott. But what I love about with him talking as well, I'm going to try to do this to block some wind sound for folks there. Also, speaking to Anthony Bonda, a guy who's coming back from being a champion last year with this team, they seem to all be kind of really looking up to Kirby Yates as well, and they all want to learn that splitter and things like that. But what do you think about how this bullpen can shake out? Do you think Tanner Scott ends up being that guy that kind of does end up with, let's say, being the clubhouse leader in saves, which is likely going to be 10, 15 saves, or do you think it does just kind of Dave shares the wealth, spreads the wealth around?
Well, I think it's just the way that the game is now being dictated, right? I think everybody is in there in the bullpen and the phone rings and you're not, I mean, they know obviously who's being called upon. Dave is very communicative, obviously, with Bardo and the bullpen and Mark Pryor and all of those guys. But, now I think the outs in the sixth are just as important as the outs in the ninth. And it is the way that the game is progressing and the way that the game is going. I wouldn't be surprised if Tanner Scott got the boatload of save opportunities, but I also think this is an offense. I told him, I joked, I said, it might just be hold opportunities, bro. You might not be saving a lot of games just because of the offense that we have. But I do think there's such a versatile group. We talk about it all the time. Clint, V is for versatility, not for victory when it comes to the Dodgers. That I like the fact that this is a team that has completely bought in, and they're over the I'm the closer role. Not necessarily. You may be one day, you may be for a period of time. But like you said, everyone's looking up to Kirby Yates, and we actually got to talk to him too. Let's have a listen. It was one thing when this team brought back Blake Trinan. It was another thing when they signed Tanner Scott, and you're like the cherry on top. What was it like for you to be able to know that you're joining this group of bullpen arms?
It was cool. It's good. So far it's been a good group. It's been a fun group. I think me and Tanner coming in, being the new guys, I think they've kind of welcomed us with open arms, which has been nice and kind of makes the transition kind of seamless.
You have a peanut gallery over here watching you. Are they making you nervous?
I think they hope they'd make me nervous, but it kind of takes a little bit more than that.
What was it about this group in particular? We were talking to AJ Pierzynski yesterday, a World Series champion in his own right. He walks in, he's like, I'm starstruck. But it has a good influx of new blood, as you were talking about. Speak to that.
I mean, I think, everybody's talking about us. It was kind of even before I was part of the team or anything like that. It was, everybody's talking about the Dodgers. I think it kind of hit me. I was stretching in the weight room when we first got here and just watching person after person after person walk in, and I was like, yeah, it kind of makes sense. I think we all understand we're loaded. I think the hard part is it's really hard to win a baseball game in the big leagues on one night, let alone win, for 7 months and do it for what you got to do. So I think we're all excited. I think we're up for the task, and I think we're all chomping at the bit to get going.
You mentioned loaded, and oftentimes, Kirby, as you know, you could have a really good starting rotation, like the Seattle Mariners, but you don't necessarily have a bullpen to match the starting arms, or you may not have the position players on the other side for the offense. This team has it all. I mean, is this a destination?
Yeah, I would think so. I think, for me, I can speak personally. I mean, when Dodgers called this year, it was, if you have an offer for them and you have a chance to really go win a World Series and that's truly what you want, I mean, I think it's a pretty easy decision.
Are you prepared for any role? Because it seems like this team, the outs obviously in the 6th, they're just as important perhaps as the outs in the 9th, and you never really know when you're going to be called upon?
Yeah, I think that you're going to do a good job communicating where you're going to slide in on that night. I think as long as that's done and communicated, I don't think it'll be a problem. I think we're all capable of, pitching any inning in any situation. I think, for the majority of us, we've kind of all done that already, whether it's the 9th, whether it's the 7th, whether it's the 8th. I think, we all know how to prepare for what we have in front of us that night. And I think as long as you're communicated and everybody's on the right, mindset and everything, it'll all work out great.
Does this team have a closer? Because it seems like all of you have done it.
I think we got about 10. But yeah, I don't know. The closing and everything, it doesn't really, it's nice and the 9th inning's hard, but a lot of times, like you just said, the games are won in the 6th, 7th, and 8th inning too. So I think we're well equipped to handle everything.
There you have it. I mean, that's what he's talking about, right? There's 10 closers, but you often hear if you have more than one closer, you don't have a closer. If there's more than one quarterback, you don't have a quarterback. But I believe with this team, they legitimately have multiple arms that could close, that could take over the hardest 3 outs of the game.
Yeah, you got 10 closers. You got 12 starting pitchers. It is a bounty, is a wealth of pitches for this team. A lot of the guys we were talking to, just the excitement of adding, I think it is important to add that new blood because 20 to 21, I don't think there was enough change, and that's one of the reasons I had asked Dave Roberts in our sit down with him. How do you get past that World Series hangover? Because in my opinion, you started off 21. There was a bit of that World Series hangover kind of lingering for the team. So of course, Dave says everybody's bought in, they're ready to go here. But I think adding those different players, and this is something Dave has talked about a number of times this offseason and now into spring training, adding in that fresh blood does change the dynamic for this team. And the guys they added, they're pretty dang good at.
佐々木朗希の才能がこれほどまでに称賛されるのは決して偶然ではありません。彼の圧倒的な速球、驚異的なスプリッター、そして成長を続けるピッチングスタイル、これらすべてが彼を MLB の未来を担う存在として確立させています。すでに日本のプロ野球で数々の記録を打ち立て、WBC でも世界を驚かせた佐々木。そんな彼がロサンゼルス、ドジャースという名門球団でさらなる飛躍を遂げようとしているのです。このニュースが発表された瞬間、多くの野球ファンが興奮と期待に包まれました。なぜなら、ドジャースは単に資金力があるだけのチームではなく、選手を最高の状態へと導く開発力を持つ球団だからです。過去には大谷翔平をも驚かせた育成環境を持ち、常に選手のポテンシャルを最大限に引き出してきました。そんな環境の中で、佐々木朗希がどれほど進化するのか、想像するだけでワクワクしますね。ドジャースの未来を背負う右腕、佐々木の加入により、ドジャースの投手陣はさらに厚みを増します。すでに MLB トップクラスのローテーションを誇るチームに、新たなスターが加わることで、ワールドシリーズ制覇の可能性は一段と高まるでしょう。彼のデビュー戦では、スタジアム全体がその一球に息を飲み、全米が彼の投球に釘付けになることは間違いありません。そして何より、佐々木はまだ発展途上の選手、現在でも驚異的なパフォーマンスを見せていますが、ドジャースでのトレーニング、MLB の厳しい環境の中で、さらに進化していくでしょう。もしかすると、数年後には、史上最高の投手として語られる存在になっているかもしれません。野球界を揺るがす、最強のスプリッター。現時点でも、世界最高の球と称される彼のスプリッター。その破壊力は計り知れず、MLB の打者たちがどのように対応するのかが大きな注目ポイントとなるでしょう。これまで日本の打者ですら苦しめられてきたこの魔球が、アメリカのスラッガーたちにどれほどの衝撃を与えるのか、想像しただけで鳥肌が立ちます。実際、スカウトや評論家の間では、MLB 史上最高の変化球の一つ、とも評されており、80点満点のスカウティング評価を受けたのも納得の結果、佐々木のスプリッターが、これからどんな伝説を生み出すのか、楽しみで仕方がありません。MLB の歴史を塗り替える可能性。ここで思い出されるのが、かつてメジャーリーグに衝撃を与えた選手たちです。スティーブン・ストラスバーグ、ポールス・キーンス、そしてもちろん大谷翔平。彼らが登場したとき、それは単なる新しい選手のデビューではなく、 野球の新時代の幕開けでした。そして今、佐々木朗希がその名を連ねることになるのです。特に彼のポテンシャルはまだ成長の余地があるという点で非常に魅力的です。ドジャースの指導の下で速球のコントロールやスライダーの精度を向上させれば、彼は単なるエース級投手ではなく MLB を支配するモンスター級の投手へと進化するでしょう。皆さんの期待と予想を聞かせてください。佐々木朗希の MLB デビューは間違いなく今シーズン最大の話題の一つ。彼の成長と成功を見届けるのは私たち野球ファンにとっても最高の楽しみです。ここで皆さんに質問です。佐々木朗希は MLB の舞台でどれほどのインパクトを与えるでしょうか。彼はルーキーイヤーでどんな成績を残すと思いますか。未来のサイ・ヤング賞投手となる可能性は、ぜひコメントで皆さんの意見を聞かせてください。そしてこのチャンネルではこれからも佐々木朗希をはじめ MLB の注目選手や話題をどんどん取り上げていきます。気になる方はチャンネル登録&高評価を忘れずに、一緒に MLB の未来を見届けましょう。